Oh, this is better. Or, no, no, you don't like it? Okay, change it again, Something about, I don't appreciate him. I said, Pernell, if anyone in the world appreciates you.
No, I really didn't. I didn't remember when he left. Pernell Roberts for some reason felt disappointed at some point in his run-through. I know that at a party Pernell Roberts, best known for his role as Adam Cartwright on Bonanza, was a talented actor, but also someone who wasn't afraid to speak his mind, even if it made him unpopular. Behind the charming smile and calm voice was a man with strong opinions, especially about the people he worked with. While most actors in Hollywood kept their personal dislikes to themselves, Pernell did the opposite. He openly admitted there were certain actors he couldn't stand, people who rubbed him the wrong way, clashed with his values, or simply disrespected him. Today, we will discuss Pernell Roberts' list of 5 actors he hated the most and the surprising reasons behind each feud. You'll never look at these Hollywood stars the same way again. But before we begin, if you're a fan of Pernell Roberts or love old Western music, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We share amazing stories about Western stars and classic Hollywood icons. Pernell Elvin Roberts Jr. was born on May 18, 1928 in Wayne, Georgia. He was the only child of Pernell Roberts Sr., a sales manager at Dr. Pepper, and Minnie Myrtle Morgan Roberts. Growing up in the Deep South during the Great Depression, Pernell had a modest upbringing. He developed an early interest in music and drama, often playing the horn in school bands and participating in church performances. His passion for the arts was clear even at a young age, but acting wasn't something he originally saw as a career. After high school, he attended Georgia Tech for a short time, but soon realized that engineering wasn't his calling. He later joined the United States Marine Corps in 1946 and served for 2 years. During his military service, Roberts played the tuba and horn in the Marine Corps band, which helped keep his love for performance alive. Once he was discharged, he attended the University of Maryland, where he became involved in student theater and began to explore acting more seriously. Roberts eventually left college before completing his degree, opting instead to follow his instincts and pursue acting full-time. He moved to New York City in the early 1950s, where he studied at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. He struggled in the beginning, working odd jobs to support himself, but his persistence paid off. In 1952, he landed his first role on stage in a production of The Man Who Came to Dinner. This small but important step marked the beginning of what would become a long and sometimes controversial acting career, one where Pernell Roberts refused to follow anyone's script but his own. After landing his first stage role in The Man Who Came to Dinner in 1952, Pernell Roberts began carving a path for himself in the world of theater. His strong voice, striking presence, and commitment to character work quickly caught the attention of directors. He became a regular on the stage, performing in classic plays like Macbeth, The Taming of the Shrew, and Romeo and Juliet. His performances with the Shakespeare Festival in New York earned him respect as a serious and passionate actor. By the late 1950s, television and film producers began to take notice. Roberts made his screen debut in 1958 in the film Desire Under the Elms, where he acted alongside Sophia Loren and Burl Ives. That same year, he appeared in The Sheepman, a western that hinted at the genre that would soon define much of his career. He took on several television roles during this time, building up his experience in shows like The Virginia and Gunsmoke. Then in 1959, everything changed. Pernell Roberts was cast as Adam Cartwright, the eldest son on NBC's Bonanza. The show quickly became a massive hit, turning Roberts into a household name. Millions of viewers tuned in each week to watch the Cartwright family's adventures on the Ponderosa Ranch, and Pernell stood out with his intelligent and quiet strength. However, while fans loved him, Roberts was never fully comfortable with the role. He often clashed with producers over the show's writing and lack of depth for his character. He believed the series lacked social relevance and artistic challenge. Despite the fame Bonanza brought him, Roberts left the show in 1965 after 6 seasons, a bold move that many thought would end his career. But Pernell wasn't afraid to start over. He returned to the theater and took on guest roles in various television series, slowly rebuilding his name on his own terms. His dedication paid off in the late 1970s when he landed the lead role in Trapper John M.D., a role that would bring him critical acclaim and a new generation of fans. Now, we will discuss Pernell Roberts' list of 5 actors he hated the most in the surprising reasons behind each feud. You'll never look at these Hollywood stars the same way again. Number 1, Michael Landon. Roberts' relationship with Bonanza's youngest star, Michael Landon, started off civil, but quickly turned sour as Landon's ambition grew. Landon was charismatic, charming, and immensely popular with fans. But behind the scenes, Roberts believed he was manipulative and self-serving. As Landon's influence on the show increased, he began writing and directing episodes. Roberts accused him of rewriting scenes to highlight his character, Little Joe, while minimizing others, especially Roberts' role as Adam Cartwright. According to insiders, Roberts once confronted Landon directly, saying, "You're not trying to make the show better. You're trying to make yourself bigger." From that point forward, the two barely spoke on set unless a scene demanded it. Roberts hated Landon's perfectionist attitude and accused him of being a media darling who only played deep on screen but avoided depth in real life. When Roberts left the show, Landon didn't reach out or publicly acknowledge his departure, which only deepened the wound. Years later, when Landon launched Little House on the Prairie, Roberts reportedly said, "It's more of the same. He's still playing cowboy, still playing saint." Number 2, Dan Blocker. The feud with Dan Blocker, who played the lovable hose Cartwright, was less explosive, but just as heartbreaking. Roberts and Blocker began Bonanza as friends, both classically trained, both passionate about acting. But as Roberts' clashes with the studio grew louder, Blocker distanced himself. Roberts felt betrayed. He believed Blocker should have stood beside him in questioning the show's weak writing and racial insensitivity. Instead, Blocker played the role of peacemaker, always trying to diffuse conflict rather than confront it. In one interview, Roberts remarked, "Dan had the heart but not the spine. He chose comfort over conscience." Roberts once walked off set mid-scene because he felt the script was degrading a Native American character. He later criticized Blocker for continuing the scene, saying, "You had a choice. You always had a choice." The silence between them grew over time. And though Blocker never publicly criticized Roberts, he also never defended him. Their friendship faded, leaving Roberts feeling abandoned by someone he once considered a brother. Number 3, Chuck Connors. The feud with Chuck Connors, best known for The Rifleman, came from outside Bonanza, but was no less intense. The two actors were invited to a charity event honoring Western television legends. Connors, towering and self-assured, was a fan favorite, but according to witnesses, he was dismissive of the behind-the-scenes crew and acted like a Hollywood king. Roberts didn't like what he saw. He reportedly watched Connors berate a young assistant for a minor mistake. Roberts waited until they were backstage and confronted him. The argument escalated quickly, Roberts accusing Connors of being a fraud. Connors firing back that Roberts was just a bitter quitter who couldn't handle success. That was the last time they spoke. Roberts often referred to Connors as all hat, no soul in private conversations. He hated what Connors represented, a man who cared more about his image than how he treated people. Number 4, Lauren Green. The most well-known and emotionally loaded feud in Pernell Roberts' life was with Lauren Green, who played his on-screen father, Ben Cartwright, in Bonanza. What the audience saw as a wholesome father-son relationship, Roberts saw as controlling and suffocating, both on and off the screen. Roberts despised how Green seemed to embrace everything Bonanza represented: shallow stories, conservative values, and a refusal to evolve. Pernell wanted depth, moral conflict, and real character arcs. But Green, ever the diplomat, towed the line with producers and executives. Roberts saw this as a betrayal of art. What started as creative differences soon became personal. Roberts believed Green viewed him as a threat, an actor who questioned scripts, challenged directors, and refused to smile for the camera unless it made sense. Their tension simmered throughout Roberts' 4-season run. He believed Green had too much power and he hated the way other cast members, especially younger actors, followed Green like disciples. Roberts finally quit Bonanza in 1965, leaving behind fame and a massive paycheck. When asked why, he simply said, "I didn't want to spend the rest of my life pulling my hat off and saying, 'Yes, P.'" To the world, Lauren Green was America's favorite TV dad. But to Pernell Roberts, he was a symbol of everything wrong with playing it safe in Hollywood. Number 5. James Drury. James Drury, the stoic star of the Virginia, was another actor who clashed with Roberts over deeper issues, not acting, but politics and ethics. Roberts was outspoken against racism, the Vietnam War, and Hollywood's tendency to silence dissenting voices. Drury, by contrast, was a staunch conservative who preferred to keep politics out of entertainment. Their ideological clash turned personal during a 1970s panel about the future of television. Roberts criticized networks for ignoring real-world issues and using westerns to promote outdated values. Drury fired back saying, "The public doesn't want sermons. They want escape." The two exchanged heated words and the event ended with them refusing to shake hands. Roberts later told a friend, Drury was never just an actor. He was a mouthpiece for the status quo. He hated how Drury stayed silent on civil rights despite having the platform to speak up. To Roberts, silence wasn't neutral, it was betrayal. Through ups and downs, Pernell Roberts remained true to himself, an actor who refused to compromise no matter the cost. While Pernell Roberts built a reputation in Hollywood for being bold and uncompromising, his personal life was far from smooth. Behind the scenes, he faced deep emotional struggles, especially when it came to marriage and fatherhood. He was married 4 times, and each relationship came with its share of challenges. His first marriage was to Vera, a professor and theater expert, in 1951. The couple had one son, Jonathan Christopher Roberts. Pernell loved his son deeply, but his growing career and restless nature made it difficult for him to stay grounded in family life. His marriage to Vera ended in divorce in 1959, and although he remained connected to his son, the relationship was often strained by distance and emotional disconnect. Roberts' next 2 marriages to Judith Anna Lear and Karanak also ended in divorce. Many close to him said Pernell was a man who needed personal freedom and struggled with emotional intimacy. He was known to be fiercely private and often kept his feelings locked away, which created walls between him and the people who cared about him most. But perhaps the most heartbreaking part of his personal life was the tragic loss of his only son, Jonathan. In 1989, Jonathan died in a motorcycle accident at just 38 years old. The loss devastated Pernell. Friends said he was never the same afterward. Though he didn't speak much about it publicly, the pain of losing his son stayed with him for the rest of his life. Later in life, Pernell found a more peaceful relationship with his 4th wife, Eleanor Criswell, whom he married in 1997. They remained together until his death. But even in those later years, the shadows of his past, broken marriages, regrets, and the overwhelming grief of losing a child, never completely faded. Pernell Roberts was a man who lived life on his own terms. But that freedom came at a cost. While the world saw a confident, outspoken actor, few knew the depth of sadness he carried in his heart. His personal life was filled with love, loss, and the silent battles he fought when the cameras stopped rolling. Colonel Roberts spent his later years living a quieter life far from the lights of Hollywood. After leaving Bonanza at the height of its success, he continued acting in television and theater, but on his terms. In the 1980s, he found new fame with the medical drama Trapper John, M.D., where he played the title role and earned a new generation of fans. But even as the spotlight faded, Roberts remained true to himself, fiercely private, deeply thoughtful, and unwilling to compromise his beliefs. In his final years, Pernell stepped away from public life altogether. He didn't attend fan conventions or give many interviews. Instead, he focused on personal passions like music, social justice, and spending time with those closest to him. But behind the scenes, he had been battling cancer. On January 24, 2010, Pernell Roberts passed away at his home in Malibu, California at the age of 81. The cause was pancreatic cancer, a disease he had fought bravely but quietly. His death marked the end of an era. He was the last surviving member of the original Bonanza cast. Though Pernell never chased fame or cared for Hollywood politics, his impact on television and acting was undeniable. He was a trailblazer who dared to walk away from a hit show because he believed it lacked depth. He spoke out about social and racial issues long before it was popular to do so. And he never stopped pushing for more meaningful, honest roles, not just for himself, but for everyone. Fans remember him not only as the strong and silent Adam Cartwright, but as a man of conviction and courage. His legacy isn't just in the roles he played, it's in the stands he took, the risks he dared to make, and the message he left behind, that sometimes walking away is the bravest thing you can do. Pernell Roberts may be gone, but his voice, both on screen and off, still echoes through the hearts of those who admired his work and respected his unwavering principles. When Pernell Roberts died, he left behind more than just memories. He left behind an estimated fortune of $10 million. Most would see that as the ultimate success, a lifetime of hard work in Hollywood finally paying off. But for Pernell, the money was never the point. Fame never thrilled him. Paychecks didn't impress him. Even when Bonanza made him one of the highest-paid actors of the 1960s, earning nearly $10,000 per episode, he remained quietly restless, searching for something deeper. While the world admired the glitz of his television career, Pernell wrestled with the truth behind the curtain. He despised how the industry twisted art into product, turning heartfelt performances into nothing more than marketable content. He didn't want to be a celebrity. He wanted to be a man with purpose. And yet, for a time, he played the game. He wore the costume, hit his marks, and watched the checks roll in. But his conscience wouldn't let him settle. His principles ran deeper than the scripts he was handed. While fans were glued to his performance as Adam Cartwright, Pernell was walking the streets of Selma, Alabama, marching beside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., not as a star, but as a man who couldn't ignore injustice. That wasn't a role. That was real. Back on the Bonanza set, he didn't stay silent either. He challenged the system that surrounded him. He questioned why there were no people of color among the crew, why white actors kept being cast in native roles, and why progress moved so slowly. His protests weren't welcomed, but he never stopped speaking up. His family later said he found some support, but never enough to calm the fire burning inside him. Pernell Roberts could have kept going. He could have built a bigger empire, lived a life of luxury, and coasted on fame. But he chose integrity over applause. He left it all behind, not out of arrogance, but out of yearning.